In 3, 2, 1, go! This right here is the Mantua General Steam Locomotive. I personally think it's a fascinating engine, and today I want to take it apart a little bit and show you the inner workings, how this thing works. And at the end of the video, we'll see it run a little bit and see just overall what the engine looks like, because I think you'll be quite interested and kind of shocked how this thing works if you have not seen these before. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So this type of engine actually functions quite differently from a normal HO steam locomotive. Right here I have another steam locomotive with the shell off. So as you can see, right here we have the motor, which with some gears that goes directly to the drive wheels, and then that powers the engine forward. And the power just comes to the steam wheels. And that's normally how most engines function, but not this one, not this general engine right here. Has its motor in the tender. But the drive wheels are in the steam locomotive. So you might be wondering, how do you get motion from the motor to the wheels? Well, they have a shaft for that. They have a rod that goes right through the center, and that translates motion from the motor, as you can see, if you can see it spin. That translates motion from the motor to the wheels, because the wheels, if you can see, the wheels also spin. I think that's a fascinating, if not a little bit odd way of making these engines work. I also have a Bachmann engine that uses the same system. As you can see, you have the motor in, if I can remove this, you have the motor in the tender with the main drive wheels in the locomotive. Now, here's the rod, if you can see the rod. So right here we have the motor, which connects to this shaft, and then this side of the rod contacts with this shaft, and then it spins, and then translates the motion to this side, to the steam locomotive, which then moves the wheels. I think it's an odd way of doing it. I personally do not like it, because this rod is a massive failure point in the total engine, because it's made of plastic. It's kind of cheap, and it can easily break, which in my case it did break. It becomes a little bit difficult to fix. Having the rod like this does several things. First of all, it limits how far you can go. It limits what size tracks you can run this on, because the rod can only go so far before it bends and breaks. It's plastic, so it can easily break if you're not careful. And that's probably the first place. If you have a problem with this engine, this is probably one of the first places that you'll see those problems occur. Another interesting aspect of this engine is actually some of the power also comes from the front locomotive and translates to the motor, which is another kind of odd way of doing these things. It's really weird having everything in the tender, but then also having the drive wheels and the power come from the locomotive itself, from the front. I would not build it that way, but I think it's interesting that they did it that way. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but it does prove to be a fascinating engine. So now that we've seen it in a little bit of detail, I think it's time to go run it around a little bit and see how it runs. I will say this little engine has some speed. Wow. I am shocked at how fast this thing has been traveling. The General might be actually the fastest engine I have in my collection. To test that, this right here is my current fastest. So I think it's time to have a race to see who can go faster. First ever Jimmy Railroad Coast Speed Race. In 3, 2, 1, go! And there goes the B&O off to a quick start. General is chugging along, but it can't quite keep up, and the B&O has already finished half a lap. There it is. It's almost complete. Lap 1 out of 2. And there it is. Lap 1 is done. General is lagging behind. There it goes. And there is the B&O almost finished with lap 2. The General has barely finished lap 1. And we have our winner. Folks, we have our winner. B&O. I guess the General's not the fastest engine in my collection. That race was a lot of fun. After seeing it run a little bit and going through it, I think I've identified a few pros and cons. These are pros and cons in my opinion. You might have a different outlook, but I think first of all, I love the color scheme. It's a lot of fun, the blue and the red. I think it's a great engine. I love it overall. Just a few things I don't really like about it, but it doesn't necessarily mean I hate the engine. I just don't like these things a little bit. First of all, the rod for me is just a little bit of an issue because it jams easily and it breaks easily, especially because it's made of plastic. Also, it doesn't do so well at low speeds. It might be because I might need to grease the engine, but overall, in my experience, it doesn't do so well at low speeds. If you like this engine a lot, leave a comment and like the video. If you enjoyed this overview, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Check out my N-scale layout video right here, and we will catch you in another video. See ya!